To win a free half-hour phone reading with me, please comment below. And on social media, please tag my video with @Kelliena on Twitter or Kelliena Psychic Readings on Facebook to be entered into a draw to win a free half-hour reading. And this reading can be international because we have WhatsApp. If anyone's interested, my 2 courses, Psychic Palm Reading and Advanced Psychic Development, are now on udemy.com. Just go to Udemy and search Kelliena. On the palm reading, you can learn how to do your marriage lines, your children lines, and the advanced psychics tips are what the guardians taught me. Hi everyone, this video is going to be about the Mercury retrograde starting January 30th. 2021 until February 21st, 2021. So a Mercury retrograde is when the planet Mercury appears to be going backwards. And what that means is when a planet is going backwards, it's giving us a chance, kind of like a redo, or the energy is not flowing as well as it would be if it was going direct. So retrograde means the planet is going backwards, direct meaning it's going back in the normal direction. With a Mercury retrograde, traditionally it is known that technology is up, or up and down. So you may notice that your computer is not working as well, or you try to watch a TV show, it keeps crashing, texts get missed, your phone's not working, those things. Because Mercury has to do with technology and communication. So we usually see miscommunication, or you book someone and then they don't show up, or the timing's wrong. A lot of that during a Mercury retrograde. One thing too, just a side note, especially with appointments, if something happens that you can't make it or something has to be rescheduled, always trust it, because usually, especially in my experience, I've noticed that when it does get rescheduled, it works out in perfect time. So just trust it. What's happening here is Mercury, the planet Mercury, one of his gifts to us is to learn how to communicate and learn how to speak from the heart. So when Mercury retrogrades, it's actually slowing down for us to kind of do a redo and just double check everything. Are we happy with our communication? Are we hearing everyone? Is there anything that we missed? So with Mercury retrograde, we often see it could be a friend from the past comes up, or a past communication where we don't hear from a friend for a few years and they reach out to you. Or you see Mercury retrograde is a really fantastic time for writing, communication for writing and being creative. So with a Mercury retrograde, I see you may feel like on one hand with your work, things aren't quite coming together. However, ideas are starting to brew. Planning is starting to brew. Nothing, but it's not a time to take action. It's a time to gather knowledge. That's a very big thing with Mercury retrograde. Now, Mercury retrogrades are, I know some can find them very loud and very intense. However, I think there's more positive than not to a Mercury retrograde. And I think that it's important to take your time and to look at what's being presented to you to find out, okay, am I learning here? What am I growing? And then going from there. And another gift that Mercury retrograde gives it to us is the permission to say, you know what, I need to step back, or I need more time on my own. That's okay. Now, with this Mercury retrograde, it is in Aquarius. So with Aquarius, those who've been following know that there's a lot happening with Aquarius, but there's a lot happening with one of the square signs. And one of the square signs for Aquarius is Taurus. In Taurus, right now we have Mars and we have Uranus. So with those two, this is a little bit different Mercury retrograde, because with those two squares, it is going to make the energy with this Mercury retrograde a little bit more intense compared to other Mercury retrogrades. So one thing I would recommend is keep words very gentle. If you find someone else's words are a little bit more heavier or negative, my recommendation is just to take a gentle step back, because it could be a reflection that right now they're going through something and they're working on something and it has nothing to do with you. They're just projecting it onto you. Just step back, let them figure it out. And then after the Mercury retrograde, then maybe reconnect. So the energy is going to be a little bit more louder. And I'll give you an example. If it's a coworker that you're trying to run an idea by them and you feel like they're just shooting it down, just wait till the Mercury retrograde is done and then present the idea, because it could just be too much for them to process right now. The other part too with the Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, One thing that you may notice is this is a time for new ideas or breakthroughs, but it may not come to be for another year or two. So one thing I'm watching here is if there's any new technology that's presented to society in the next year or two, I would be very curious to find out if the idea was born during this Mercury retrograde, because there's so many openings. With a Mercury retrograde too, there's a lot of opportunities here for past life meditations, visions, communications with your guardians or loved ones in spirit. So if you do any yoga, meditations, guided meditations, anything like that, really powerful time to do it. And this is a wonderful, wonderful time to research new techniques. So if you're learning more, if it's remote viewing, for example, or if you're learning past life meditations, there's lots of them on YouTube. See what you connect to. Music will be very important too to help clear the energy. Those all will be very, very important to start. And the other part with this Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, it will be very important. The other part with this Mercury retrograde, it's all about positive new beginnings. It's just the only part that with this, it's about removing the energy that's blocking the new beginning. So if there is a situation or energy that is not serving you or not allowing you to be on your path, the Mercury retrograde is really going to get in there to remove this. So just a heads up on that. Yeah, and that's it. And I will put more details on the blog where the guardians speak if you want to check that out. But that's in a nutshell what's happening with this Mercury retrograde.